These are the solutions for our Math 110B final exam. Number 1, find the area of the region bounded by y equals x squared and y equals 9. Looks like this. It's negative 3, 9, 3, 9. How do I get that set them equal? So I'll integrate from, instead of negative 3 to 3, from 0 to 3 and double it. So integral from 0 to 3 times 2. Upper minus lower is 9 minus x squared. So it's 2 times 9x minus x cubed over 3. Plug in 0, you get 0. Plug in 3. 9 times 3 is 27. 3 cubed is 27 divided by 3 is 9. 18 minus 9 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. Number 2, y equals x cubed, y equals x. So this is the graph. And you're spinning about the x-axis, so it looks like so. Upper radius is x, the lower radius is x cubed. So the volume's integral from 0 to 1 of pi upper radius squared, x squared, minus pi lower radius, x cubed squared. Take out the pi, x squared minus x to the 6. Integrate. Pi times x cubed over 3 minus x to the 7th over 7, from 0 to 1. Plug in 0, you get 0. Plug in 1, 1/3 minus 1/7, which is 7 minus 3 over 21, 4 pi over 21. Number 3, you're given a triangle, vertices 0, 0, 4, 8, and negative 2, 2. Find the area using calculus. This is y equals 2x. Goes through the origin, slope is 2. This is y equals negative x. Slope is negative 1, goes through the origin. This is y equals x plus 4. The slope comes out to be 1, and then do your point slope form. So these are the 3 equations. And well, here's the work. 8 minus 2 divided by 4 minus negative 2, 6 over 6, which is 1. So the area is integral from negative 2 to 0 of upper minus lower, x plus 4 minus a negative x. And then from 0 to 4, it's upper still x plus 4, but the lower is now 2x. Clean this up, that's 2x plus 4. Clean this up, this is 4 minus x. This one comes out to be x squared plus 4x from negative 2 to 0. This is 4x minus x squared over 2 from 0 to 4. Plug in 0, you get 0. Plug in negative 2, you get 4 minus 8. This one, plug in 0, you get 0. Plug in 4, you have 16 minus 16 over 2, which is 8. So 0 minus 4 plus 8 is 4 plus 8. So the answer is 12. Number 4, integral of e to the x sine x. So this is the one where you have to integrate by parts twice and it cycles back. U equals e to the x, dv is sine x dx. Du is e to the x dx, v is negative cosine x. So I is uv, negative e to the x cosine x, minus the integral of v du, so negative cosine x e to the x dx. Double negative, make it a positive. Negative e to the x cosine x plus e to the x cosine x dx, call that I1. So I is equal to negative e to the x cosine x plus I1. I1, u is e to the x, dv is cosine x dx, du is e to the x dx, v is sine x. So I1 is e to the x sine x minus the integral of v du is e to the x sine x dx, which is the same as the original I. So I is negative e to the x cosine x plus I1. Okay, back over here, and I1 is now this. E to the x sine x minus I. Add I to both sides. 2I is factor out e to the x sine x minus cosine x divided by 2, or multiply by half. 1/2 e to the x sine x minus cosine x plus c. Number 5, you're integrating cosine cubed and sine squared. Split up into cosine x, cosine squared x, sine squared x dx. Change cosine squared to 1 minus sine squared x, sine squared x. Put the cosine x over here. So all of this only has sine x. So let u be sine x. Du is cosine x dx. So I now have 1 minus u squared times u squared du. That's u squared minus u to the 4th du. U cubed over 3 minus u to the 5th over 5 plus c. So 1/3 sine cubed x minus 1/5 sine to the 5th x plus c. Number 6, worked this one out the other day. factor x minus 5, x minus 6, a over x minus 5, b over x minus 6. Multiply this one by x minus 6 over x minus 6. This one x minus 5 over x minus 5 looks like this. A times x minus 6 plus b times x minus 5. Distribute. Gather the x's, a plus bx, plus the constant term, which means it doesn't have any x, negative 6a minus 5b. And that has to equal negative x plus 8. So that means a plus b is negative 1. Negative 6a minus 5b is 8. Multiply the top equation by 6. 6a plus 6b equals 6. Negative 6. Add them up. B is equal to 2. Plug back in here. A is negative 3. So a is negative 3. Back up here. B is 2. So my original integral is now negative 3 over x minus 5 plus 2 over x minus 6. I'd like to put the positive first. So 2 ln absolute value of x minus 6 minus 3 absolute value of it. Ln absolute value of x minus 5 plus c. Okay, 7. You have part of a circle of x squared plus y squared equals 36 between 0 and 6. So this is x squared plus y squared equals 36, but it says only go from 0 to 6 for x, and y equals means only the top part. So we're trying to find this arc length here. Okay, and if you go by the formula for the circumference of a circle, you have a quarter of a circle, so the length should be 1/4 of 2 pi r, which comes out to be 3 pi. Now, using the arc length formula, dy dx is 1/2 36 minus x squared, that's negative 1/2 times negative 2x. Comes out to be negative x over radical 36 minus x squared. By formula, I square this. I lose the negative, I lose the radical. That's nice. X squared over 36 minus x squared. By formula, I add 1. So 1 plus derivative squared. Here's 1 plus that to get a common denominator. X squared cancels out. 36 over 36 minus x squared. So the arc length is the integral from 0 to 6 of the square root of this thing. Divide top and bottom by 36. Top comes out to be 1. The bottom is 1 minus x over 6 squared. So u equals x over 6, or 1/6x. du is 1/6 dx, which means you need a 1/6 here and a 6 here. Change the limits. If x is 0, put a 0 there, u is 0. If x is 6, put a 6 here, u is 1. So I have a 6 in front, integral from 0 to 1 of 1 over radical 1 minus u squared du. So that's equal to arc sine, 6 times arc sine of u from 0 to 1. Arc sine of 1 is pi over 2. Arc sine of 0 is 0, 3 pi. And that's exactly what we got back over here also. Number 8, y equals e to the rx. The derivative is r e to the rx. Double prime is r squared e to the rx. So y double prime plus y prime minus 6y is r squared e to the rx plus, that's a mistake, I changed it to a coefficient of 1. R e to the rx minus 6 e to the rx equals 0. Factor out e to the rx. R squared plus r minus 6 equals 0. This factors into r plus 3, r minus 2. So the r's are negative 3 and 2. Number 9, y prime, make this dy dx, multiply both sides by dx, and it looks like this. And then I integrate. So y minus ln absolute value of cosine y equals 2x plus 1/3 x cubed plus c. That's all you can do, so just leave it. Okay. Quick double check of this. What's the derivative of negative ln cosine y? It'd be 1 over cosine y times negative sine y. The negatives cancel out and you get tangent. 10, x is cosecant t, y is sine t from 0 to pi over 2. Cosecant is 1 over sine, so x is 1 over sine, but sine of t is y, so x is 1 over y, or y equals 1 over x. Okay, so ordinarily you would have this whole thing, but when t is from 0 to pi over 2, when t approaches 0 from the right, so I plug in 0.00001, see, this thing is very small. So y approaches 0, x approaches infinity. So we're coming from here. At pi over 2, x and y are both 1, but it's an open circle because we're not putting a line underneath it. So the graph should look something like so. Okay, 11. X is 4 cosine t, y is 5 sine t. So dy dx is dy dt over dx dt. So dy dt is 5 cosine t. dx dt is negative 4 sine t. That comes out to be negative 5/4 cotangent t. D squared y over dx squared is the derivative of this thing, dy dx with respect to t, divided by dx dt. We already did dx dt, just copy negative 4 sine t. And then I differentiate this. So the derivative of this is positive 5/4 cosecant squared t. That 4 can jump down with the 4 here, so it's negative 5/16. Sine on the bottom means cosecant on top, so I end up with a cosecant cube. Best final answer is negative 5/16 cosecant cube t. Number 12 is the polar graph. R equals 1 minus 2 sine t. So the maximum R is 3. That's the 15th circle for me. If you had the 12th circle, that's okay. R equals 1 is 5 circles. R equals 0.2 is 1 circle. So I bolted out R equals 1, R equals 2. Little table. If I plug in 0, I have 1, also at 2 pi, and also at pi. Plug in pi over 2. Sine of pi over 2 is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Plug in 3 pi over 2. Sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 7 pi over 4 all have something to do with radical 2 over 2. Okay. Sine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2. So that's 0.7 times negative 2 is negative 1.4. So negative 0.4 here. Likewise, negative 0.4 here. Okay, 5 pi over 4, 7 pi over 4. The sign is negative radical 2 over 2. You have a double negative. So it's 1 plus radical 2, 1.4. So 1 plus 1.4, 2.4, 2.4. Now, because we crossed 0, and it's not in our table, we should take time to work that out. I'm passing from a positive to a negative. That means you have to pass through a 0 for a continuous function. So I set 1 minus 2 sine theta equal to 0. That means sine of theta is a half, or theta is pi over 6, and 5 pi over 6. So that tells me where I come into the pole. Okay, so that tells me more of the graph. Okay, so here we go. At 0, R is 1. I come into the pole at 30 degrees. So at 30 degrees, I come into the pole. And then at pi over 4, I'm at negative 0.4. So I back up 2 circles. And then pi over 2, 90 degrees, I back up 1. So it goes like so. And then 3 pi over 4, negative 0.4. So you're aiming this way, but again, you back up. So you back up there. And then pi, I'm at 1, which is over here. And yes, I come back into the pole at 5 pi over 6. So at 150 degrees, I come back into 0, and then I come back out. Okay, 3 pi over 4, positive 1, 2.4. 3 pi over 2, I'm at 3, 1, 2, and there's my imaginary 15th circle. 7 pi over 4, 2.4, 1, 2.4. And then I come back home, back like so. Okay, so that's that graph. 13. So summation 1 over square root of n cubed minus 1 compared to summation 1 over n square root of n cubed, which is 1 over n to the 3 halves. So take the ratio, 1 over square root of n cubed minus 1 over 1 over square root of n cubed. Multiply top and bottom by n cubed, square root of n cubed. These cancel out. So I have the square root of n cubed over n cubed minus 1. Divide top and bottom by n cubed. So limit n approach infinity of 1 over 1 minus 1 over n cubed, square root. That becomes 0. So I end up with 1, which means whatever happens to one happens to the other. What do I know about summation of 1 over radical n cubed? That's like 1 over n to the 3 halves. That's convergent because it's a p series. So p is equal to 3 halves. That's bigger than 1. Therefore, the original series also converges by limit comparison test. 14. So I do the ratio test. Some absolute value of a sub n plus 1 over a sub n. 5 to the n plus 1, x plus 1 to the n plus 1 over radical n plus 1 times the flip of the original, radical n, 5 to the n, x plus 1 to the n. By the way, we already know we're centered at negative 1. You say, what number makes this 0, right? That's negative 1. Okay, the 5s leaves me a 5. The x plus 1 leaves me x plus 1. The n stuff is this. So when n approaches infinity, this approaches 1. So this expression approaches absolute value of 5 times x plus 1. as n approaches infinity. So I have absolute value of 5 times x plus 1 is less than 1. That means negative 1 is less than 5 times x plus 1 less than 1. Divide everything by 5. Negative 1/5 less than x plus 1 less than 1/5. Subtract 1 everywhere. So negative 1 minus 1/5 is negative 6/5. 1/5 minus 1 is negative 4/5. So I put negative 1 in the middle. Go 1/5 of a unit that way and 1/5 of a unit this way. It means r is 1/5. Here, absolute convergence. Here, divergence and divergence. And these two, I don't know. So I plug in negative 6/5 to the original. Put negative 6/5 here. Negative 6/5 plus 5/5 is negative 1/5. So I have 5 to the n times negative 1/5 to the n. That's negative 1 to the n over radical n. Alternating, absolute value of a sub n is decreasing and a sub n approaches 0. Therefore, the series converges by alternating series test. Color that in. Plug in negative 4/5. Negative 4/5 plus 5/5 is 1/5. So I have 5 to the n times 1/5 to the n. And that's equal to 1 to the n, or 1. Summation 1 over radical n. That's 1 over n to the 1/2. That diverges because it's a p series with p equal to 1/2. That's less than 1. So that stays open. So radius of convergence is 1/5. Interval of convergence is bracket negative 6/5, negative 4/5. Okay, finally 15. 1 over 1 minus a negative x to the 5th is first term is 1. Common ratio is negative x to the 5th. 1 minus x to the 5th plus x to the 10th minus x to the 15th plus dot, dot, dot. Integrate from 0 to 0.1 of this thing. So 1 minus x to the 5th plus x to the 10th minus x to the 15th. So I integrate x minus x to the 6th over 6 plus x to the 11th over 11 minus x to the 16th over 16 from 0 to 0.1. Plug in 0, they're all 0. Plug in 0.1, 0.1 minus 0.1 to the 6th over 6 plus 0.1 to the 11th over 11th minus 0.1 to the 16 over 16 plus dot, dot, dot. This converges by the alternating series test, and if I stop anywhere, the error is no more than the next term. This is already less than 10 to the minus 6. We wanted 6 decimal places, and 0.1 to the 6th is 10 to the minus 6, almost by definition, and I'm dividing that, so this is already less than that. So 0.10000 to 6 decimal places. Okay, and that does it, folks. So that's it for Math 110B. Hope you enjoyed the course. Everybody have a good Christmas season and a Happy New Year, and hope you enjoyed the class.